Okay, I've got it.
Great. It is recording. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call the open session to, or call it to meet, get open. It's 3:23. I would like to do the flag salute. I'm going to, I don't know why it's not, oh wait, I gotta get back to my picture. Okay, please stand. We'll do the flag salute. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
I'll make a
Okay.
motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll
Who was
second.
that? I didn't hear the second.
Tristan.
Thank you, Tristan. Okay, moved by Noah, approved by Mrs. Walker Schuman. The agenda, report of closed session action, any, Dr. Breggy?
There was no action in closed session.
Thank you.
You need a
Uh,
vote. Sorry, a
What?
vote on the agenda.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Can I approve the agenda motion, please? All those in favor? Say aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much, Pam. Report, there was nothing in closed session. Thank you very much, Dr. Breggy. We have one person, I believe, that wants to make a comment. Pam, is she online? Is she? did
So
you
I
call
said
it?
that I would read it because I didn't know the time. So I said I would read it. So it would be in the minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Would you go ahead then, please?
Sure, it's a special board meeting, threat to facilities. Dear members of the board, Dr. Breggy and school cabinet. At the last meeting of July 27th, 2021, the payment to TCDS line item was pulled from purchase order payment. This occurred after some discussion regarding what these funds were actually providing for in terms of security and where these services fell into the broader district security program. Two board members rightfully requested that a study session regarding exactly what the security program encompassed must be held prior to approving the funds for services. When asked by Mr. Margot whether pulling this item from payment would affect school opening or actual security, the answer by Mr. Roach was a resounding no. Suddenly, there's a special meeting out of the public eye identifying a threat to the facilities. What has changed in the week following the open board meeting to necessitate this special meeting to address a threat? With school opening less than 2 weeks away, parents have a right to know whether there is an actual threat, as the last meeting left the public comfortable that security would not be compromised by deferring payment of this line item. Hopefully, the district will send an update to the community regarding what the actual threat is and how it is being addressed, along with confirmation that this threat no longer exists. Please consider addressing such matters in a public forum in the future. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. And it's from Donna Treifman. That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve item 8A, please?
Make a motion for the approval of the BHUSD purchased order dated August 2nd, 2021.
Thank you. Do I have a
I'll second.
second? Thank
I'll
you,
second.
Tristan. Moved by Mr. Margot, seconded by Mrs. Walker Schuman. Okay, discussion and comments at this time. Any questions? And again, we will start as it's Mrs. Wells' turn with Mrs. Wells. So, Mrs.
Okay.
Wells, thank you.
Well, I have, as I've said in the past, I've requested multiple times to have a overview of the security program and to have a better understanding of what these costs are and how they relate to the security program, and have not yet had a study session, and my previous meetings have been denied. So at this point, I am not in a position where I can make a fully informed vote to approve this purchase order. However, I would suggest or make a suggestion that we consider approving part of the purchase order so that it doesn't impact in any way the beginning of the year, but come to some sort of a number that would be acceptable to approve until we have our study session. And if the study session right now is scheduled for September 2nd, and Dr. Brady thinks that there's a possibility that we can have that session earlier, if not at the latest September 2nd, I would suggest that based off of the weekly expenses for the first 2 weeks of July being around $100,000 for team concept design services, that are development services, that if we extrapolate that number out for the month of July and August, and even if we wanted to go through to September as a cushion, that would be an acceptable number to approve at this time until we have a study session.
You want to make a motion to amend that previous motion?
Yes, I would. I'd like to
Finish
amend
having
it.
our discussion first.
Right.
We finish having our discussion first, and then if there's a motion to amend, we
Well,
can pick that up.
Point of
Right now,
order.
it's on the floor is
All right,
approval, as it is.
well, okay. Mrs. Schuman, you're next.
So Dr. Breggy, can you, I didn't ask you this before, so I'm sorry if I catch you off guard. Can you just briefly give us a summary of when we have a special board meeting, how exactly that gets categorized for the public? Like what topics it covers? What are the topics that are allowed to be discussed in a closed session under a special meeting?
So if we're posting for a closed session meeting, it has everything from personnel to if there is a security threat, which is whether it's our overall security or if it's like COVID related under the protocols under COVID threats. We have things that are protected are any anticipation of any litigation that could be happening in the school district. It could be some current litigation that's happening in the school district. If there is discipline for personnel or reassignment of personnel. And those are the major categories for why we would have closed session or a study session that's closed.
So just to dispel any rumors, there was no particular credible threat. This falls under a discussion of the security program, correct?
Not a specific threat. This was the concern of some work that could have been stopped that could have impacted the beginning of the school year. So it falls under the security in that security measures that needed to be addressed before school opens.
Okay, and then just to circle back to the meeting last week where this all took place. The information that was given, while it was correct, was not fully reflective of the actual impact that action was going to have on the program, right? So while it doesn't prevent NASTEC from being able to go forward and do what they need to do, or our CSEA guards, there were other impacts to the security program that were impacted, and that's really the reason for this meeting, correct?
There were some, that's where the impact was for reopening up school, yes.
Okay. So
It wasn't specific to any one student. It wasn't, there was not a threat. There was some, it was a threat around some of the day-to-day work that should be finished within the next week or so for opening schools for students.
all right. So just in the interest of making sure that the public is not misinformed, this was not a drama. This was not a credible threat of a specific nature. This is following up on the business that we had unfinished from last week. And that's the reason for the meeting, and that it followed all of the guidelines, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Stern.
I'm glad that was made clear and clarified, because we certainly don't want any undue anxiety, especially, given the pandemic. So that's all I have to say right now. I was done. That was it for me.
Okay, Mr. Margot,
No, I'm clear as to what the task of the board is today in agreeing to a purchase order, which doesn't necessarily equal expenses. It is just a purchase order. So,
okay, in regard to my feeling is that I was, of course, very surprised. I'm being told that it's all or nothing at all, as far as I feel like I'm having my self pushed back against a request to have it give partial payment or approve partial payment. It becomes a very difficult decision for me because I'm being told it's either all or nothing at all. And I really feel that I'm not being unreasonable to expect that maybe we could pay for part of the thing at this point, and instead of giving the full amount and until after the study session. So I have a great deal of ambivalence about right now how I'm going to vote on this.
May I
Mary?
add something? I mean, if we have a study session no later than September 2nd, and I would like Dr. Breggy for you to follow up about making that study session earlier, given the timing and not wanting to put our security at risk in any way. And in fairness, I've requested this since December, so it's been 8 months at this point, or close to 8 months. And if our billing against this purchase order for the first 2 weeks has been 100,000, and we use that as a guide, we can approve a purchase order of 200,000 for July, 200,000 for August, and include a 200,000 for September, which is $600,000 purchase order, which we can approve at this time, which should be more than enough of a cushion to get us to September 2nd, if not earlier. And I think that is a reasonable way to go about approving this purchase order at this time. And then certainly the rest can be pending until we have our security session, our study session.
Are you making a motion to that effect, Mrs.
I'd
Wells?
like to make a motion to amend the purchase order to 600,000 at this time. I'm not exactly sure on the correct protocol on how to do that. I think I would defer to Noah, since he seems to have a very good handle on what's the correct
yeah,
procedure.
you would ask for a friendly amendment to the motion. And then Tristan would have to accept the friendly amendment if she seconded the motion.
So the motion was to amend the amount to $600,000. And Noah, we have to review, we'll go back to Mrs. Wells, Walker Schuman. Do you approve this friendly motion, Mrs.
I
Walker?
don't. No.
Yeah, neither do I.
Okay,
We could take it to vote, and then if there's
In
a,
addition, I'd like to point out the invoices are approved against a purchase order. What we're authorizing modifying is the purchase order.
right.
So we're not
I
making a
understand.
commitment to just go out of pocket immediately for all of this. It's not a blank check. I don't like it to be characterized that way. And it wasn't
reference it as a
100,000, it was
purchase.
133,000, in addition to which I would remind my colleagues that conversations that happen in closed are confidential and proprietary. Please keep that in mind.
My amendment is to the purchase order, not to payments.
I understand.
okay. Any other comments? Questions? Okay, I'm gonna call for the motion, okay? Dr. Stern,
Tell me exactly what I am voting for exactly at this point, and I will.
I believe that you are voting for the motion as it was stated to begin with. That was the motion that we
On
do
the
not have a
agenda.
second to the friendly motion, so there is no motion for an amended motion. We are voting for $2,850,000 for the item on the purchase order to be go ahead with it.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Margot,
Yes.
Mrs. Mrs. Wells,
No.
Mrs. Walker Schuman,
Yes.
Mrs. Marcus is a no. Let the record reflect that the vote passed with a 3-2 majority. Okay. Is there any other business that has to come before the board? Dr. Brigid, you want to try and see if we can get a study date while we're still on board here where everybody could be present, since we're all in one room right now?
I think that for everyone to check their calendars, that might be a bit difficult on
Okay,
this
you
call.
did, you,
I will send something out right now.
okay, all right. Okay, so it's 3:38 and the meeting is adjourned, and thank you very much for attending.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.